Good evening, one and all, and welcome to another edition of Cock Talk. You know, the only place to be on a Thursday night, 10 o'clock, right here. I'm going to say a massive shout goes out to my panel. Good evening. I must say welcome back, Stoney. Nice to have you back.
Thank you, sir.
Looks like he's just had a couple of weeks in the Mediterranean somewhere.
Oh, God. Artie, I wish, if only. But no, look, just lovely to be back. Decided to take a little time away. I've continued tuning into the show. So yeah, just good to be back, sir. Thank you.
Lovely. And always listen, it's always a pleasure to have you back, bro. Well, good evening, Doctor. How we doing, man?
I'm well, man. I'm well. Hungry, but I'm well. I'm well.
We are hungry for success.
Hungry for success, hungry for food. I'm fasting right now because, boy, last weekend I looked in the, I saw a picture of myself in the mirror and I was just like, nah, rude boy. Nah, bro. That don't make it, boy. I said, yeah. All right.
And because he's normally last, you know what I mean? We will leave him to a last. The mouth on a stick, Mr. Preds. How we doing, sir? Can't eat, bro.
All that build up, Preds.
And all that build up, man, and you just flopped it.
Bruv, these Indian man and free that places have as well, bruv.
Southall Market.
Yeah, bruv.
Hey, don't be having the go at my headset. Don't be having.
Well, we can.
And the worst thing is, he always sounds better when he takes it out. Always.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the intro. Anyway, it was brilliant. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, exactly. You nearly flopped me there, bro.
No, you know me, man. I got you, man.
And Mark, good evening to have you on board. Mark says, Stoney, nice to have you back. Hope you weren't crying over the final like me.
Listen, just to say something, I know I haven't been in on for a little while, but the final, it is what it is. I think sometimes you just have to take a little humble pie with a little ambrosia custard, and you just have to accept it. Newcastle, I think, turned up on the day. I think Eddie Howe is the first, is it English manager to actually won a trophy in the last whatever years. So look, credit to Newcastle. I'm not going to discredit their performance anyway. Not one bit.
Definitely not. Good evening, CW, Mr. One-Liner himself. Good evening, gentlemen. Great to see Stoney back, and good evening to the number one fan of Luis Diaz fan club, which is Doctor.
Listen, man, my boy Luke, you need some respect, man.
They got you, Doctor. They got you, man. They got you.
Need some respect, man.
Okay, so big derby day, gents. He was 9 points ahead. Everyone's wondering, is it going to get squeaky time? You know what? Are we dropping down or whatever? But you know what I don't like? Everyone's like, yeah, it's good we've had a rest and whatever. I prefer when we just play games back to back. I don't like it. I think normally when we come back after a break and whatever, we seem rusty, man. And for me, I'm not going to lie, that first half was atrocious. And we could have been 2-0 down, and only 2 because Everton are so crap. To be fair, how did you see the first half?
Yeah, just quickly. Obviously, everyone knows that Van Dijk's my guy in it, but boy, I don't know if man was drinking pre-game or what, boy. But I was just like, like, is Virgil drunk? Because but I was getting worried, man. I was thinking, what's going on? In saying that, though, I do think.
Hold on, Doctor. Hold on. Just pause for a second.
Roy! Oh my God!
Hold on. I need to call in VAR. Did you just say Van Dijk is your guy?
Artie.
Jesus. It's a figure of expression to show respect.
Yo.
I didn't say Virgil my man. He's my guy.
Hold on. We're gonna look at this one.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, show done. The show finished. socialist.
But
Kill me, kill me, kill me. You killed me, man. You killed me.
Yeah. So yeah, we said because I thought first half was actually it was atrocious. It was a hard watch, man. At first half, it was atrocious.
You know what? The first half, like you're saying, was a bit rusty. You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
First and foremost, yeah. We was a bit rusty, and I think we started well. We started quickly, but we just didn't get anywhere. We didn't make any progress, and like always, Everton started to play their way into the game. And I don't know what it is with Beto, but Van Dijk and Ibi struggled against him first half, and it wasn't until second half where they actually they could deal with him the way they should have. But it seemed like they were shocked at what he was going to do to him, and we struggled, and that's why we struggled. And Everton came into the game more and more. I mean, he's hit the post. He's actually got a goal disallowed. So we rode our luck, and I agree with you. It wasn't a great first half, and all I was hoping is that we get to halftime 0-0.
Yeah, same here. Doctor, you were talking about Van Dijk.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with him and Konate and I think you know what it is, because Van Dijk's held such a high standard and he's normally so imperious. The moments that he drops off, you can kind of see it, right? And between him and Konate, because that goal that was disallowed for the offside was so lucky. The communication was appalling. That was a great run, to be fair, but the communication was appalling. Either Konate's got to make sure that Virgil sees him, or he's got to track him himself. But almost like Van Dijk turns around and the guy's there, then starts flapping behind him, and then that effort where Beto then hits the post. I was watching, thinking to myself, is this Van Dijk or is this Lovren? Because that's Lovren Esper. Man did a mad air shot. I was like, Virgil, what's going on, bro?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Crazy.
What's going on, Virg?
Crazy. How did you see the first half, Stoney?
I think, if anything, it was a strange thing. We probably have to give more credit to Beto. And the only reason why I'm thinking that, if we think of the first game we played, you've got a striker who's willing to actually occupy two centre backs, right? So we did it in the first game, and I think Beto's performance was quite similar in this game as well. He had absolutely, and I say this in a good way, he played with absolutely no respect for Konate and Virgil. And I really, really, really do believe that Virgil and Konate wouldn't have had any sleep tonight. Beto was willing to take his time to whether he was going to press on Konate, and then he took turns on Virgil. And in my opinion, I think he was successful in both positions. Whoever he was on, I think he was just far superior. But then also, Artie, I was thinking in my head, if we think of collectively all of the offensive players that Virgil and Konate have had to face, if Beto is just one that gave them problems, then we're still in a good position. But Beto was a handful. In a strange way, it's really weird. Do you remember Paulo Wanchope used to play for Derby years and years and years ago? I don't know what it was. This Beto kept reminding me of Paulo Wanchope. And it's almost as if Beto came up against, as you mentioned, Ben, Konate and Virgil. And it's like he said, I'm ready for both of you. And you know what the interesting thing was? Anytime he was up against our two central defenders, there was no other players up to give Beto support.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if they played right up to him. Because sometimes you can have... Yeah, it's almost sometimes you can have a striker or an offensive player. The ball gets played up to him and he may play it back and then players come back to support him. He was always up by himself, but he was confident that whether he was in a duel to do with Konate or Virgil, it seemed like he was confident that he was going to get the better of them. And yeah, he had a very, very, very good game. So I'm just going to give credit to Beto on that his performance yesterday.
I definitely will say that Everton seemed to play that tactic of wanting to sit back and get us to come in and then try to break on us. But the only problem for me was if they had a bit more ambition about them and did get players around Beto, we could have been in problems. Another thing that was for me as well, I think was lucky, is that Ndai wasn't fit. And I only just come back from injury, so he didn't start. He's a very decent baller, mate. Trust me. Very, very decent. I must say, good evening, Creds. Nice of you to join us, my bro. Chris says we were more better in the second half. First half, we were very lucky. Lucky for us, Everton had a bad attack. Beto was Nunes. Now he's hit the post instead of the goal. It was Lovren and Saka, ice skating brothers at the back in the first half, and it was their Charles. And making Beto look like prime time Drogba, other than scoring. Yeah, no. To be fair, I'm not gonna lie. Even not like against other teams, I've seen he has improved and he started to hit the back of the net. He's got a bit of confidence. I believe if he's got better players around him, he could do a little job. He's not going to be a world beater. Not going to be a world beater, but he'll do it for a club like Everton. He'll do a job. You know what I mean?
There's nothing better was blatantly good.
10 goals. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. 10
you know
goals.
what it is? Because so it kind of depends on what you're playing him for. Like if you're playing him to be a man who's going to hit 30 goals, then yeah, he's never been prolific. But I just think in terms of his overall play, like he's agile, he's strong, he's quick, he's got good feet. I think like as a target man striker to like lead the line and put pressure on centre backs, and like I think he's one of the better ones in the league. To be fair, like I think he's good. Like he hasn't got say the quality of a who's the guy from Crystal Palace? I can't think of his name.
Mateta.
Yeah, Mateta. That's the one. So like he's just a blatant gunman, whereas Bell doesn't quite have that kind of finesse. But in terms of just being a outlet to cause centre backs like trouble, like, he's blatantly up there. He's good.
Yeah, isn't that what Nunes is supposed to do?
I think if Nunes that just like loses his mind, and sometimes he tries to play like a battering ram, and other times he's trying to be silky and do stepovers. I just think Nunes has got too much going on. He needs to just like narrow it down. I'm this, and then just play like that. But
100%. Well, we are going to definitely go to our resident ref, and you know what we are definitely going to 100% talk about. I see Stoney smiling already. Resident ref, how in God's name did number one the referee not give that as a red, and number two Paul Tierney not overturn the decision or tell him to go and look at it again?
I think, Artie, that's such an amazing question that you've actually mentioned here. And I think the thing is, right, in a situation like that, as a match official, I don't think the ref could have been any closer to, and I'm just going to use this word, the incident, all right? I don't even think the ref needed even go to VAR. If this is just my opinion. He was close enough to have made a decision. Now, my opinion is this, all right? The defender was a serious foul. It was excessive. And regardless of whether the match official said that he won the ball, there was a follow-through knee high. So in my opinion, all of those things should have been a red card. That is just my opinion, all right? Excessive force, serious foul, and endangering a player. All of those things should have been a red card from the ref right there. The fact that he then thought he needed to go to VAR and then they made a decision afterwards, I just think it's farcical. And I don't even think that I'm saying this as somebody who's got the interests of a Liverpool supporter, fan, whatever. It was out of order. So for me, in my opinion, the laws of the game, that is a clear red card. That's just my opinion.
100% agree with that. They even put up a list of what consists of a referee giving a red card, and there was a tick for every single one of them. As the studio panel went through it with Dunk and Carragher, there was a tick for every single point. He ticked every point as a red card. But as they say, Tierney, they reckon that Tierney's got a thing in for us after that in 2021 when Klopp said something to him to the effects of, I don't have nothing against referees except you. And Klopp got done for it. Yeah. So they reckon that
But you know what?
feelings from back then. But
You know what? Even if that's true, like you can't overlook the fact that it was reckless, it was out of control, and it was potentially a career-ending tackle.
Preds, you'd like to think so, but he bloody did.
And it's not, and as referees, and as referees, and I'm sure Stone, you'll agree with me. Referees are there to be impartial. Now, whether Klopp has made that statement, and if he's taken it personal, and it's actually then impacted on him doing his job, then questions have got to be asked about it, because that there was 100% red card, and I'm not saying just because of Liverpool supporter, but it was 100% red card. He was out of control. His leg, nearly broke Mac10's fibula and tibia. That could have snapped. If he'd have planted his foot anymore.
Oh yeah, he was finished. He was finished. And for the other member, I can't pronounce his name for the life of me. Kowalski.
Right? Yeah. I get, David Moyes said it after the game, those are the sort of tackles that went on back in the day, which is absolutely right. It did.
Yeah, it did.
However, times changed. It's moved on, and that tackle is meant to be stamped out of the game. And there was no reason for the Everton lad to go through to launch himself in such a ferocious manner. I know it's a Merseyside derby, but
you could see it in his face as well. You saw it in his face. He showed it back again. You saw it in his face. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, it wasn't even a 50-50.
What David Moyes has said there is another admission as well. Those were tackles that you got away with back in the day.
Yeah.
So that's an admission. You know you can't get away with that today. But he did. Before I get to you, Doctor, this goes back to another point as well, what we was talking about on a few shows back when I mentioned about referees getting demoted and stuff like that, and people were disagreeing. But you cannot let people get away with stuff like that, and then what? You're going to let them go and referee again next week? That's absolutely ridiculous. That for me is too blatant to let that pass. Something has to be done.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that, Artie. And I think I'm going to hold my hands up. I think I was presented with the question that you mentioned, and I attempted to give my rational.
No, you did. You did give. You attempted. You did give your rationale.
Yeah, about players being demoted, but I almost cannot even attempt to disagree with the performance of the referee in that game, and the reason is any of the referees are meant to officiate under the laws of the game, right? So if they're meant to, that challenge, and I know there's going to be other things that were mentioned, that particular one, Artie, there's no way that wasn't a red card. There's no way that wasn't a red card. It was excessive force. It was foul play, and it was endangering a player. And I go back to what I was saying. The ref couldn't have been any closer. And the thing is, not only was he closer, he had a clear viewpoint on the tackle as well. So he didn't even need to go to VAR. Why he didn't give a red card, it would be interesting to hear why he didn't give a red card. But yeah, that was very unsavory, man. Definitely.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, for me, we played AC Milan, right, in the Champions League final when we came back. That was 20 years ago. Yeah. If one of our players did a challenge like that, they would have been sent off. So this whole idea of back in the day, when are we talking about? Because 20 years ago, that was a red card. So if we're talking like the 80s, that's 40 years ago. So in the time span of Tarkowski's footballing career, that's always been a red card. This whole idea that you know what I mean, like the game's change or things have evolved. Like, it's bullshit. So red card 10 years ago, it's a red card 20 years ago, it's a red card today. Since he's been a footballer, that's a red card. And I think that's terrible. For me, those are the kind of things where you almost have to start taking it personally, innit? Because now you're trying to finish my career, innit? Because that was an
100%.
actual career-ending
100%.
challenge. I thought that was appalling. Like, realistically, if Matt 10's boys, some mad guys from South America were to come and do something to my man, well, you put it on yourself, innit? Because, like you said, innit, you saw the grit on his face. There was
Thank you.
intent. There
You
was
saw
intent
it.
to harm him. Like, yeah.
Before I
big
go
liberties.
through a few of these comments that stuff put up there, is it still possible now, Stoney, for the league to look back on that and take action?
Do you know, there's something, it's a good question. I'm actually unsure, you know, because the thing is, even if the match official himself deemed it not a red card, and VAR obviously deemed it not a red card. So is it retrospective? Is that the word that they use? Retrospective. I don't think they'll do anything about it. And I'm
saying that they will, but do they have the power to? Because of what's happened in the incident. That's what I'm saying. I think, or what's happened now, they can't go back and can't change nothing.
I think if Liverpool were to lodge an appeal, I think then they'd be open to discussion. But I do not envisage Liverpool to do anything about it. I think we're just going to move on to our next game. But I think in terms of how the referee panel and PGMOL, I think they need to look into something on that. And as Doctor was saying, and the Preds mentioned as well, that was a career-ending, I wouldn't even say a tackle, a career-ending offence, in my opinion as well. That's unsavory, man.
Like the only body part that was on the ground when he made that tackle was his right hand.
Yeah. Yep.
But so if you think about it, if you look at it, you visualize it, he's going for a full bloody tackle. The only part of his body is his hand on the ground. His leg is literally sunk into Mac 10's left calf, I think it was. It was a ferocious tackle. It was a horrible tackle. And for a fellow professional to make a tackle like that, knowing the repercussions of him, if that connected and he got injured, Everton lad knew the repercussions. Every professional footballer, every footballer knows the repercussions of such a tackle, and it was horrible to see. And when you rewind it and you stop it and you pause it, it looks so like it looks horrible.
Worse and worse. But they've got look at Pickford on Van Dijk, and they got away with it again.
Yeah. Well, look at Pickford. Even though the whistle went, look at Pickford with Darwin Núñez.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
it seems. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, please.
No, go
Why
on.
would the Pickford one on Darwin Núñez not have been a red card? Because my understanding, right, is that yes, the whistle's blown, but what you've demonstrated is dangerous play. So if the whistle's blown and you've still done, why is that not seen as like a offence?
And I'm glad you brought up, because that was in a discussions in one of my other groups today, right? So I looked in it as two parts, right? I haven't got no answer to this. I look at it as two parts, right? So if Pickford thought the whistle had not been blown, because we're going to break it down to two things, right?
Yeah.
If Pickford didn't hear the whistle and he committed that offence to Darwin Núñez being the last player, just bear with me, right? He committed a foul on Darwin Núñez being the last player. So one, it should have been a penalty, and Pickford would have been sent off. But then if Pickford heard the whistle and he committed the offence, then he still should have been cautioned. So either way, a caution should have been applied to Pickford in that situation there, right? One, if he had heard the whistle, and one where he didn't. And that goes back to what Artie was saying in terms of the match official. I think he bottled it. I don't think he was refereeing or carrying out the laws of the game. whatever transpires after that will be very, very, very interesting. My opinion is Pickford went to do Darwin Núñez. And as I said, I break it down to two things. If he heard the whistle, he committed an offence. If he didn't hear the whistle, he still committed an offence. So either way, he should have been issued with a card. That's just my opinion.
100% agree with that, mate. 100%. So, Cred says, red all day long, dangerous play. Stoney, you're no longer invited to the Referees Association buffet for prawn sandwiches. Clearly, that's why you're back. Clear red card all day long, just for the follow through.
And do you know what? Even with that RT, right? Even like as match officials, excessive force is a red card.
Yeah.
So the tackle from Tarkowski on Mac 10, that was it was excessive force. So whatever angle, even you can look at it in real time, you can look at it in slow motion, you can look at it in VAR. It is excessive force. That is a red card offence. So I'm still not sure how the referee afterwards in his report or whatever will be able to give rationale why he didn't issue that red card. I'm mystified by it.
Okay, so I don't know, for those who are watching the game tonight as well, the Chelsea-Tottenham game, is what Mark's referring to. I was watching this as well, and it's true. I saw it. So Pape Sarr came on. He kicked, what's his name? Caicedo's knee. Then got the ball and went through and scored. And the referee was then told to go through and look at the screen. And it was nowhere near as bad as what happened. It was just that he put his foot up to try and win the ball. The ball was bouncing, put his foot up and win the ball. Caicedo actually turned his leg in front of the ball to protect the ball. He caught his knee and went down, and then he went on and scored. Nowhere near as bad. But he was sent to the screen, and he went to the screen, and the goal was overturned and disallowed. Why? This is the thing what I don't understand. When players get upset and referees want to be booking them and talking about their conduct, but there's no consistency. So it's going to be frustrating. We are human beings at the end of the day, and it's going to be frustrating. I can't be here one week or watching something yesterday and then nothing's done, and then today you're giving me a totally different decision. Like it's something needs to be done. And the whole point for me of VAR is to cut that kind of crap out so that there is more consistency. But VAR seems to be bringing up worse issues because it's highlighting even more the errors that are made.
Yeah, that refs are bad minds. So no, I shouldn't say that. So,
no, it's true.
But it does feel like that, right? Because I just think unless you're biased, like if you're just a neutral and as a ref, you're meant to be a neutral, and you see a footballer on your pitch that you have a sense of control of what's happening, and you see a tackle like that, and your immediate thought is like that's not a red card. Like for me, that's just bonkers, isn't it? Because my man's mashed him up. Like I can't think of a worse tackle I've seen this season, if I'm being real. And maybe that's me having my Paul blinkers on. I don't know, but I thought that was an appalling tackle. Like appalling.
It wasn't a tackle. It was GBH.
Yeah,
I thought it was mad.
It was an offence.
No, it was a ABH, actual body.
ABH, yeah. Sorry, you're absolutely right. ABH.
Listen, what I respected a lot was Big Dunk in Ferguson in the studio came up blatantly and said, "Nah, that straight red," and I don't know how the referee is not giving it. And he's Everton through and through. Yeah. But he was like, he didn't even take a second to think when he was asked. He was like, "No, that's a straight red. That's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous decision."
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like there needs to be the PGML and the Referees Association. They need to have a look at that incident. They need to do like if nothing's going to happen going forward in respect of repercussions for Tarkowski, they have to then look at the fact of if experienced referees who are now retired and are now giving their opinion as pundits in regards to what should have happened in that in that situation.
Our team.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
like they need to have an investigation or something and looking into why was that not deemed red? What was the rationale? What was the VAR's officials' rationale in not at least sending the referee to the screen? It just doesn't make sense.
Ridiculous. They need to be questioned. They need
Yeah.
to, like we spoke about that time as well. Like I said, these referees are protected because they don't have a lot of those people who actually want to do it. So if they start demoting them and whatever, then they're going to struggle for quality refs, and that's a fact. It's a fact. It goes down from grassroots right up. It's a fact. They're protected. The amount of challenges and whatever that was launched at the grassroots levels when I was managing, and even my chairman had to pull me aside and say, "Listen, nothing's going to happen because they're crying out for refs." Don't you realize how many times have you turned up and there's no ref for your game? Because they can't get refs. Because they don't want to.
What I will say,
because of the abuse and whatever they're getting, they don't want to do it. So
and I'm glad you will actually mention it, and I don't mind. I'll probably need to pull up after this, but you know what? It's all good. We'll do what you have to do. All right. So the county FA that I'm a match official to, I referee in quite a lot of leagues as well. And there's a particular ref, and I don't need to mention the ref's name. All right.
No, of course not.
Over the last 5 seasons, absolutely appalling. All right. So all of you guys have obviously played and officiated at very
seasons of appalling.
At very high levels, right? Now I know for a fact that this ref, what will usually happen is after games, teams are in a position to grade the ref on their performance, all right? And that's between 100, anything under 60, you have to present a match report.
You have to write a report, yeah.
Brilliant. So this particular ref, I know for a fact, would have received under 60 for, I would say, 99% of the games that they officiated. And all this ref has been able to do is move between whether it's the AFA, the AFC, the SAL, the Greater London Women's League, the Barnet Sunday League, and a Thurian League. And I'll put it out there. And also the Maccabi League as well, right? It's absolutely appalling, right? But he's still able to actually be there. So going back to what you were saying, Artie, about who is it that governs at the top and what actions do they make if these refs are constantly having poor match reports because there's this training that they can go on, they get assessed, they get observed, they get, as you said, they actually get demoted. But if they continue to not apply laws of the game, what then happens? It goes back to what you were saying. I know there's a need to actually have match officials, but if you're not applying the laws of the game and you're not looking after the safety of players, then what then happens? They should not be able to officiate any games. And that's just in my opinion. And I'm saying from somebody who still plays and somebody who still officiates games as a match official as well. It's not good. It doesn't help. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't.
You know what?
It's either you're good or you're not good. And if you're not good and all of the trainings put in place and it's still not good, then you know what? This is not for you.
Yeah, you know what? Sorry, just quickly, like the level that I coach football in X, Y, and Z, but you tend to. There's a pattern occurring where the referee are being assessed, it seems like the referee's common sense goes out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I get that they have to, I get the criteria. They referee at certain levels. He has to tick a few boxes to get to the next level, and the next level. And I get that. But then sometimes I've got to be careful what I say here because I could potentially get in trouble here.
Mm-hmm.
But from my opinion, it just seems sometimes the referees are somewhat intimidated by the assessors when they actually referee, because then, like I said, sometimes common sense doesn't prevail. And some of the best referees that that's officiated me when I've been playing were the ones where they gave you transparency. They talk to you. You know, they talk to you. They referee. They are impartial. Look, everyone makes errors and mistakes. But the one last night wasn't a mistake. It was an error.
Yeah, and
it wasn't a mistake.
And this is the point, right? Look, I think we're fans, so we're always going to be slightly biased, even when we're not trying to be biased. So when there's 50-50 decisions, was it a foul? Like, I think you can sit back afterwards and be like, look, it's a game. Refs have to make decisions. It's a hard job. But I just think there has to be a duty of care for safety.
100%. 100%.
Like if man are making tackles like that, you've got that. All I'm asking you to do is be safe. And equally, if Kanate did that against one of their midfielders, like it's a red card. Slot, talk to him. I don't want to see Liverpool players doing that.
No.
Like, I just think there has to be a duty of care, like, to the players, and that was just dangerous, man.
Yeah, it was outright. It was outrageous. Okay, before we move on to that, even Mark says, I want to know how Matt 10 carried on playing the full 90 minutes.
Bro, this guy's got mad pain threshold, and he's crazy brave still because he gets caught a lot.
And if the player goes around the ref and start asking for the ref to go to the screen, they get a yellow. Yeah. Well, such is. It
shouldn't have to take the players to get around the referee. That's why the VAR officials are there to assist him. You know what I mean? So.
Don't forget, people, hit that like, that share, and subscribe. Big shouts goes out to Anonymous One. Nice to have you on board. Mark says, can you ask one thing? I asked you all, do you think it's time Slot gives Salah a rest? Last 3 games, he looks like he's not on the pitch. Personally, I give Kayes a 1 star, as we have nothing coming from the right. Ooh.
He's right in saying that the last 3 games, and last 3 games are talking about the PSG. I'd say 4 games.
I would listen, Reds. I was just going to say the same thing. I think it could be 4 or 5.
4 or 5, yeah.
4 or 5.
I think the one that got him out of it slightly was the Southampton game, because he score a penalty. Yeah, he scored a penalty against the Southampton game. But other than that,
he got an assist as well.
He got assist.
I think he got an assist as well. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe. But an assist and a goal, okay, brilliant. But I think the PSG game in Paris, the PSG game at home, the Newcastle game in the League Cup, he hasn't turned up.
No. He hasn't turned up.
He hasn't turned up. And that, unfortunately, opened up the debate of, well, are we actually a one-man side? Because if he doesn't play well and Salah doesn't score, who else is there to score?
Well, they posted up some numbers yesterday of our forwards, not including Salah, and them numbers were absolutely abysmal. They were absolutely abysmal in the appearances. Their goals and assists was absolutely abysmal. And
it's worrying still.
It is because, like you say, if he doesn't perform, then it looks like we struggle.
Yeah. Look at the numbers. Like, if we look back, look at the numbers that Mane, Firmino, and Salah, the numbers that they clocked up, and we finished second. Like, we finished second on 92 points, and City got 93 points. Like, throughout their period, if one weren't scoring, the other was scoring. If 2 was not scoring, like, that's how it happened. Yeah. Now at the moment, if Salah's not scoring, then fortunately, Jota the Shot has got his nickname back again because he was clinical yesterday. So it's one of those. Maybe he probably needs a rest. I'd say yes. Whether Slot's brave enough to do so is another thing.
Okay.
What I did think on Salah is, I guess, the impact of Ramadan, right? Because obviously man's fasting and then having to play football as well must be difficult. However, as far as I'm concerned, that's now gone, right? So,
That's correct.
but then maybe there's a impact on certain players over a period of time. It might take them, I don't know, a few weeks to fully recover. I don't know, but I think it's probably worth thinking about that. But Salah has struggled, and it does make you see potentially the contract situation from a different lens slightly. Obviously, he's been fundamental to our team, but I think it's almost like, is the over reliance on Salah because he's just amazing and we need to pay him anything, versus the other two haven't quite done it. And therefore, if you then get it right, left wing and striker, then do you then not need to have someone like Salah being scoring 20 goals a season and probably earning around 600 grand a year? So, a week. So it is tricky because he's not beating his fullback at all.
No.
And it's basic breads as well. He's not beaten. So it just looks poor. And then I think if you think about his role in the team, yes, he plays on the right, but let's be clear in it. Salah has zero defensive responsibility at all. Salah probably has, if you were to list the actual strikers in the Premier League and see how much they track back, and then compare that to Salah, I'd say Salah's probably got one of the least offensive things to do in the entire league. So he's always up there. It means that Szoboszlai has to sacrifice his game, grab as well, but it's worked great. So I do think we have given him a platform to perform, and therefore, if you're given that role, then you've kind of got to deliver. And if you're not, then I guess that you have to start asking a few questions. Either like the team needs to change a little bit, or maybe he needs to get subbed. I don't know, but
So anonymous. I know Jota scored yesterday, but personally, I'm sick of him. He just doesn't offer enough. As a whole, feels like playing with 10 men at times.
Yeah, struggled, Jota. Yes. Sorry, Stoney. He's gonna say.
No problem. I was going to come back to you, but this is mad because it's like I'm trying to clash with you with a Miley Cyrus dub plate here, right? So, Salah.
There must be a pause. There must be a pause. No.
Salah. Obviously, we mentioned about the fasting with Ramadan. Ibrahim has also been fasting with the Ramadan as well, and he's obviously played there. I know he's probably had some indifferent performances, but watch this, right? So Konate's also been fasting. You see, with the forward right position where Salah is, I'm trying to think in my own head, right? And you've mentioned it rightly so. Have we been over reliant on Salah? All right. So for whatever reason, Elliot hasn't been able to play there. Chiesa hasn't been able to play there. I think we've probably played one or two games where Luis Diaz has moved from the left to the right, so he hasn't played there. I wonder if, and this is me being almost quite selfish by me saying this, all right? Even though Salah has probably had some indifferent performances there, we've got probably, is it 8 games to probably try to wrap up the league on that right forward position. I would prefer Salah playing there, even if he's got some dunce performances, but he may be able to give one moment of magic and then we get either a draw or a win for him to play there. But you're right, nobody else has even had an opportunity to play in that right position where he plays for us to think, well, if Salah's resting, they may be able to do something. We haven't seen that.
So I would carry on playing him for this season, absolutely, like personally, because even Chiesa, I just don't think he's that great from the right. I think since the injury, he's lost that bit of pace. Obviously, he's still quick. I just wouldn't play. I think he works either better from the left or or slightly central. Harvey just doesn't have the pace running behind. So unless the team is just part of the bus and we're just going to build up slowly, it just hasn't worked. So I would praise Salah. I just think there's a question mark on, do we renew his contract, and at what figure does the club say that's too much? And by all accounts, factoring in his base wages and then his bonuses, win bonuses, goal bonuses, assist bonuses, Mo could be earning up to like 600, 700K a week maybe, because his basic's 350. And our wage bill is crazy high. Like, I saw a stat that basically said our wage bill is averaging that every player is on 200K a week. Now, obviously, that's not true. So,
Yeah, but
certain man must
average.
So certain, and we know that's not true. So certain man must be getting a lot of money. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mo's bonuses are very high. And if you think about it, when we did his last contract, we weren't in a great position. So signing Mo was like big news for us at that point in time. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they paid him a bit more, and that's what he still wants now. So I think, yeah, if Mo's going to be wanting 600K a week, I don't know.
But you know what, Doctor? It's interesting, right? Mo's been amazing for us, right? And his numbers are serious. So, you know, sometimes clubs and people, we can almost be data driven, right? But I think in terms of output, in my opinion, Mo has delivered. My concern is, right, as a club, as an elite club as Liverpool, if we think globally, right, globally, whether we're looking at the same age bracket as Mo, whether we're looking at players that are reaching 30, or whether we're looking at an age bracket of somebody who's around 25, if we think that globally we cannot find another player that can attempt to meet even half, and the reason why I'm saying half is if we look at the output on any of our other forward positions, did Dunce comparing to Mo, right? So if we cannot think or have any scouting, and our technical directors cannot think of anybody else can get half of Mo's goal or assist output, it's quite concerning. So I think what we need to be doing is looking at Liverpool thinking there has to be somebody or some players between 5 and 10 players that we need to be looking at, where if Mo moves on, we've got somebody else that can actually come in his shadow. That's my concern. We can't just be reliant on Mo to say, as an example, I'm not saying you said this, where a player then has to come in. I don't know what Mo's on, right? So even if a player comes in and we have to pay him 200 grand a week, and he gives us half the goal and assist output of what Mo is, we have to be looking at that person. We have to. And if we're not, then that's what my concern is, what Liverpool is at. There's a problem there.
Well, Anonymous one said, what is Slot's issue with Kaiser? There's an uncomfortable conversation to be had about what's going on, because it makes no sense to me. At least bring him off the bench.
Completely agree. But, like, don't get me wrong, Chiesa was appalling against Plymouth. Yes. And I was just like, bruh, what are you doing? But for a player of his pedigree, his lack of minutes is worrying. And I just think, yeah, maybe it was just an opportunistic signing from Richard Hughes. And Slot's just like, nah, bro, I'm not feeling him. And I do think Slot's a stubborn guy. So I just think if Slot's not feeling you, then you're done. And for whatever reason, Chiesa has not got the minutes. And apparently he's been great in training as well. So yeah, it's not making sense. It's not.
And as we were saying as well about Salah, he's been bad last few games, but he's burnt out. You can't forget he's carried this forward line on his back to win the Prem. He always has a drop off, and this is where others need to step up.
Yeah, agree.
For real, yeah. Jota was a lot sharper yesterday. Diaz did everything apart from getting a goal yesterday. I give him man of the match. And Diaz was great yesterday. If he plays like that consistently, I hope he stays for next season.
I got to be honest. I agree with the man of the match, but I think that it was a very, very tight decision for man of the match because I would have also considered Curtis Jones.
Yeah,
Good,
Great
big
shout.
shout. Big
great
shout.
shout.
Big shout. Yep. Big
I
shout.
mean, he like to go into. Eyebrows were raised when I saw the team sheet, and I'm thinking, I'm trying to work it out, and I'm thinking, hold on there, with Jones, and then you work it out, and you see it that Jones is going to be right back. But in all fairness to the lad, he done a really good job.
He did.
Jones
He
is a
did.
top player, man. Top player.
He is. Big shouts goes out to Amit. Thank you very much, my bro. Nice of you to join us, man. Stellar supporter is Mr. Amit. Love that. Mark says, I think Chiesa could get half of Salah goals and assists if played regular.
He's a good player, man.
He's definitely got the quality to do it.
He's a good player.
Definitely got the quality to do it. But as we always talk about, we don't know what's going on behind the closed doors, behind training or whatever, what Slot really wants from his players as to why they're not playing. But then again, you have to think, well, that's the only player that Slot's brought in. So, and he's fit now, and he's still not getting game time.
Yeah.
But Slot, we know that Slot now is a manager who he has a set. He trusts a set amount of players, and maybe Chiesa's not giving him any food for thought for him to trust him. I don't, like you say, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I just think that Chiesa may struggle with the pace of the Premiership, but that's the only thing I can think of. But I went as great supporter. I went the greatest of supporters for Chiesa, especially after the Plymouth game. I would have been happy not to have seen them ever play a Liverpool game again, to be quite honest. But you got to give people a chance for a comeback.
You got to give him a fair crack of the whip, man. Seriously, you do. And for me,
but you know what, Artie? It's even with that. I'm like you, and I'm almost like Preds, and I'm always, gosh, I don't know. I don't mind. I'm gonna have to say this. I'm in a very uncomfortable position, right? I want Chiesa to have an opportunity to play, so we can see whether he is in a position to have a renewed contract to play for next season. Did we buy him for 10 mil? You guys have to correct me on this one.
Yes,
right?
10 mil or 12
mil.
Quite cool. So whether we're in a position to give him, I'm just giving an example, another 1-year contract or a 2 years contract. And if we think it only in football terms, 10 mil is not too bad. We probably see youth players
low for him.
Yeah. So in terms of 10 mil, in terms of football, that's not too bad. But I'm also in a conflicting situation, right? And I'm thinking, well, we've got probably 8 games left. We've got 8 games to secure our second league title, Premiership title, because we know we've won these leagues, and we know the Premier League. You know, football wasn't created just for the Premier League. So as I said, I'm almost in a conflicting situation. I'm thinking, you know what? If it means that Salah is slogging and he's dragging us through and he's having mixed performances, and we win our second league and Kaiser don't play, I'm going to celebrate now. But then the conflicting side is, do we rest Salah to see what Kaiser can do? And it may mean that Arsenal get closer to us, and then the league title is not as assured as it could be, because we want to see what Kaiser can do if Salah does move on and Kaiser stays in next season. What position am I in? And I'm unsure. And I'm going to be honest with that.
So I do think Chiesa would deliver with given a run of games. It's because I guess you have to look at it like this, right? There's the level that Mo's been throughout the season, and then there's his current level. Let's see how he does against Fulham. And I'm not optimistic because Robinson really gave him a tough game when we played them at Anfield. But Mo was flying back then, so we'll see. But I just think, yeah, this current level of Mo, I think you have to look at the idea of Chiesa getting some minutes off him. Because if I'm being honest, my personal view would be, other than Mo, I'd say that the levels that Chiesa has hit and shown in football are over all of our other forwards. Like post-injury, yeah, you could argue it, but pre-injury, better than Diaz, better than Cody, better than he's different to Nunez because obviously he's a wide player, but in terms of actual levels, I think this guy's been a elite player. We saw like the Euros and how he mashed it up. Like it's the guy who's hit like the pinnacles of world footballs, but it's about what he's got left, like have the injuries kind of just killed his shine a little bit. But I have to admit, it is odd. It's odd.
The one thing that cannot be questioned about Chiesa is his attitude. It's spot on, never sulking, always smiling, positive and massive in the dressing room. I think he will play Chiesa as soon as the 13 points is won.
I don't know,
And Chiesa was always FSG PR signing. It's so clear. Mark makes a good point. He says 10 million we got him for, and 2 seasons ago he was worth 100 million. It don't make sense. Good evening, Bingy. Bingy says Mo should be subbed from time to time on 60 to 70 minutes.
Just on Mark's point about Chiesa's value, was it Mark or was it Chris that said about Chiesa's value?
Mark. It was Mark.
Couple of things. He was on decent wages at Juve, so they were keen to get his wages off the wage book. They've got a bit of financial issues,
trouble, yeah.
and obviously, so that's probably why we got him for that cheap. But also as well, just to put into context, Juve are doing some absolute nonsense in the transfer market. Absolute nonsense in transfer market. First example. The lad from Bournemouth, who everyone's raving about. Huijsen, right? Huijsen.
Oh, yeah, the defender.
Yeah. Everyone's raving about. Looks incredible, 19. He came from Juve. They sold him for, I want to say, about 10 mil. May even mean less than that. Somewhere between 8 and 12 mil. Until 18. Juve then, for more money, bought the left back from who's at Bournemouth. What's his name? We were linked to him at one point in time. Left back and also play centre back.
Kelly. The one who went to Newcastle.
Kelly.
Lloyd Kelly. So Juve sold Huijsen for less money than they bought for Lloyd Kelly.
What kind of madness is that?
Exactly. So I think you have to look at Chiesa's price in the context of what Juve are doing right now. So yeah, Lloyd Kelly costs more than Huijsen. Yeah, I kid you not. So yeah, I just think Juve are doing a lot of nonsense at the moment. And for some reason,
a massive shout goes out to Big Teach. Nice to have you on board, sir.
Yeah, big up Teach.
Big up Teach. Big up. So what I was thinking about another thing as well. Keep talking about this. Drop Salah, play Chiesa. Why can't we play the both of them together?
Sure.
One play down the middle, one play on the right. Why can't they both play together?
Yeah,
and I think
Joe hasn't been good.
Quality that they've got, I think that they would bring out the best in each other because they're quality players.
Yeah, because Joe is struggling.
Yeah, of course.
And Slot don't rate Nunez.
What you reckon?
Clear to see.
But do you know what? Can I just ask something that may be quite provocative?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this. Okay. So we played. Have you played? Is it 31 games we played? I think we played over 30 or 31 games, right?
30.
30. Cool.
Yeah.
And we've lost one game. Do you reckon? And I don't have an answer to this, right? So we've only lost one game. Do you reckon in Slot's head he's thinking, well, look, whatever collective squad of players that he's putting out, must be working in some form because we've only lost one game. So maybe he's thinking, yes, we probably need to be able to give game time to Kaiser and maybe Harvey Elliott and some of the other players. But we've got 8 or 9 games to the end of the season, and whether they've worked out whether they're performing in training is just by the by. Because if we think of it, if Slot at the helm wins the Premiership for us, two league titles in the Premiership, my guy's nice, you know. Nobody can't say nothing.
He's nice.
So maybe on him and his coaching staff, they're saying whatever he's putting out is working. And I agree. And I know the opening show was about our performance against Everton, and the first half was woeful. But maybe whatever he's doing is working, and that's probably why we haven't seen Kaiser in a different format, or Mo playing, or whatever different forward line. I don't know. As I said, I just feel so conflicted at the moment. It's very hard for me.
Well, they say that even in the Eredivisie, that Slot was used to just using like a standard 15 players out of his squad. Those were his core players, and those were the players that he would use 9.5 times out of 10, basically. And he's trying to do the same thing here, but he has to realize that you can't keep doing that in the Prem, especially when you're a top club that's going on 4 fronts for 4 different trophies. You can't keep doing that.
Agreed. He has to, but then I guess it's his first season, right? And once I say that he's stubborn in some of his opinions, but I think if he looks at the data and thinks, actually, I need to rotate a little bit more next season, then I think he will. But yeah, I just think Slots has looked at him and been like, boy, this was just meant to be a transition season from the viewpoint of we're just going to look at the players in it. I think everything tells you that this season is just, let's not rush. Let's just let like the new manager look at the players, and then next season we'll go big. So I just think we weren't meant to be winning the actual league right now. Like I just think that was just
nobody thought we was.
I just think nothing that the club have done is saying that they expected us to win the league this season. So I just think if you're Scotland was saying, boy, I'm nice, innit? Because half of you man are gone. Not half. But you man are gone. Nunes, I don't need to play you in it because you're garbage and you're gone. Like I think in Slot's mind, I'm just running with what I rate, and is what it is.
Need to go. If we get this League One early, we can experiment and trial certain players to see where they stand for next season. CW says, as soon as we officially get the league confirmed, I'm going out drinking, could care less about the remaining games.
Well, like, I don't think things get rotated. I think if we win our next, let's say Arsenal drop points against Everton, and we win and we wrap up in say 3 games time, I don't think things are going to rotate at all. Like, I personally just think Slot's looking at it as like, I'm playing the people that I rate, and if I'm not giving you minutes, you can go.
Wow, we'll see. Mark Foster agrees as well. Kaiser can play number 9. I'm sure he could score more than Nunes. I'm sure my gran could. And she's passed. Anyway. Slot is a woo. Easy, Teach. So Teach, you're on the fence then, how you feel, yeah?
Yeah, no, boy.
Yeah? You're on the fence, are you? I can't get my head around Luis Suarez and Fernando Torres not having Premier League medals. But these South American Chuckle brothers, Diaz and Nunes, are going to win one.
Hey, man, it is what it is, isn't it? But you know what? I had a very interesting conversation in one of my Liverpool groups, and there was a couple of people actually quite frustrated with Slot. So, how do you panel feel? Are you in some sort of agreement in regards to? Do you think that the way we're playing football in regards to the slow build-up is something that Liverpool supporters have to get used to, or is it something that, well, you know what, we could do with a bit more pace and a bit more intensity going forward. What's your thoughts?
It definitely is something we have to get used to, I believe. And as you can see from the majority of our games this season, we've been better in the second half. I'd say probably 90% of our games, 85 to 90% of our games, we've been better in the second half. It's a very dangerous tactic. You'll get some teams who might, get a corner, score, and then that's it. 11 men behind the ball, and you're struggling to break them down. It may not happen. And you have them days when your strikers are just not connecting. You can't afford. For me, you can't afford to play that. I want to be at them from the off. We're a big team. Go out there and dominate. I want to see, you've had like 30 shots, 15, 20 on target kind of thing. You know what I mean? That 5 and 6 shots and 2 and 3 on target. That's not in 90 minutes of football for a big team. That's not good enough. It's not good enough for me. And especially when you've got the strikers who are putting out the numbers that we've got, because them figures don't match up. They need 30 odd shots before they get 5 on target and maybe 1 goal.
One goal. It's not a great ratio, is it?
If you're only having 5 shots and 2 on target, chances are that they ain't scoring. So it's not mathing for me. The math ain't mathing for me. I want to see us be more dominant in our game, to be honest. As Teach said, though, Slot is stubborn, he reckons. And he goes on to say, if you rotate the squad, you win the FA Cup, Carling Cup, Champions League. I don't like this foolishness. This ain't the Eredivisie.
But was our
to look at them?
Was
I
our
don't think
squad
in the Premier
actually?
League, Champions League, no,
Yeah.
for me.
Mark goes on to say, Klopp did the same with Mane, Bobby Salah, and left Origi out a lot until injury started. I agree. I don't see much rotation after we seal title. We'll still be stubborn. He's chasing records. All he has to do is use the squad better.
But even with that, you see, even with that, that's a good question by Teach. What I'm thinking about, whatever the squad looks like, I don't know, right? I'm thinking, how big is our squad? What is the depth in quality of our squad? And would they be able to give the output of our squad? So I'm just thinking, all right, as we currently are at the moment, if we think of squad depth, we know that Ali's out, so Kelleher comes in, right? We're thinking at left back.
And we've got Jaros.
Okay, perfect. All right, so Jaros. And even if we think of that, Jaros hasn't played more than 2 games this season, collectively for the first game.
About 2.
Right?
I'm not sure. One of them was against Crystal Palace, I think.
All right,
I can't remember the
perfect.
other one.
So then if we think of squad depth, and this is not at Teach, by the way, Teach, I'm not digging you out. I'm just thinking in my own head, by the way, right? I'm thinking about squad depth. At left back, we're thinking of Robbo, we're thinking about Tsimikas, right? If we're thinking about squad depth in terms of centre backs, the only additional player that can probably, and we're just thinking about here until the end of the season, right? So Gomez is not even in the conversation in terms of centre back. So the only centre back, if Virgil or Ibrahima doesn't play, would be Kwanzaa, right? If we're thinking of right back, unfortunately, we've had the injury with Trent and Bradley. So the only right back we've probably seen now, we've been fortunate, is that Curtis Jones has played at right back. If we think of perfect, thank you. So if we're then thinking of the central positions, the only additional player that be able to come in there is Endo, right? Obviously, Endo came on in injury time yesterday, and maybe Harvey playing in one of the number 8s. offensively, the only additional player we're thinking about then is probably Kaiser.
And
What
Gakpo.
then?
And Gakpo.
And Gakpo. So thank you. So then, if we're thinking of the extension of squad depth, I don't think there's anybody else. Is it McDonald claiming at right back, or you can play midfield? But then, if you're thinking of any additional squad depth, there's not much. There's not much.
Certain players could still get a rest, bro. You could still rotate certain players for me. And it's not, well,
Okay.
sometimes, you know what? It's not sometimes just all about the 100% quality. Sometimes it's the fresh legs, man. And giving that other player a rest to recoup.
But then how much is a drop off going to be then, RT? Are we in a position to do this while we're still attempting to chase the one bit of silverware that we may be in a position to actually win? What's going to be the drop off, and who is going to be the personnel that can actually come in? And this is the rationale that I'm trying to question with my head, and that's what I'm saying. I'm so conflicted in terms of what I would like and what's currently happening, and I don't know what the right answer is.
I think.
Yeah, go on.
I think what a lot of people are getting it twisted with is when they say like the drop off and what have you. I think that you're talking about major changes. I think if you're resting one player, I don't think the drop off's that bad. If you're dropping one player and if you're giving a player a rest and giving a Harvey Elliott a run, I don't think the drop off's that bad.
Yeah, but then you got to think of the other side of it is there's got to be a reason in regards to Slot's mind that if you want to rotate and he's given players time to opportunity to rotate, they clearly haven't taken their chance. Like the only positions that you can see there's rotation is the midfield, and where the midfield is, you've got. I mean, like Endo is the finisher. He comes on. Unfortunately, he comes on in the last 5-10 minutes of the game to shore us up. But if you think about the midfielder in regards to Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Jones, Matt 10, like they have that midfield four, or those four midfielders have consistently played well over a period of the season. Now, when other players have had an opportunity to come in, they haven't quite hit the heights that Slot was probably expecting, not wanting, expecting. So if they're not hitting the heights of what he's expecting, then that's probably one of the reasons why you haven't seen much rotation. He's got a particular style to play. He wants it played in a particular way. Like someone said, he's very stubborn, like all managers are, top level managers are. So we have to then think of the other side. Are these players in the background? Are they doing enough to warrant that rotation opportunity to rotate? Sometimes you have to put the responsibility also in the players' hands as well.
I just think Slot just don't rate people.
Darwin over Kaiser week in, week out don't make any sense.
But in saying that though,
so it's foolishness.
There was a moment where Jota was playing appalling, and he was still starting over Darwin.
Yep.
And I didn't think Jota's form was better than Darwin's at all, if I'm being honest. I thought they were kind of equal, but Darwin offers you a bit more physicality, so maybe like you go with that. But I just think, like I said, Slot's just in his mind, I've inherited a team. I am analyzing, looking, seeing who I think I can win with, who I think I can keep for, and who I think I can build with. And I just think he just don't rate, man. And the reality is he's top of the league. So, yeah, if we had rotated, could we done more in the FA Cup? Possibly in the League Cup, yeah, throughout the season, kept it fresh. But I don't think you can hold it against him. Like he's top of the league in his first season, and he basically hasn't signed a player. Like what he's done is unprecedented. Like you're not seeing this. You're just not. And going back to the thing you said, Artie, about the style of play and the chance creation, right? Because I thought to myself, I do hear what fans are saying, but I think Slot's thing is, I'm not looking to create multiple chances. I just want to create 5 or 6 brilliant chances. And that's what this football's about, because the numbers don't lie. The XG numbers, I've got it up in front of me now. Our XG for this season is 74.20. The next team closest to us is Bournemouth on 61.41, Chelsea 59, Arsenal 58, Man City 58. So what he's doing in terms of chance creation is clearly working. Like, we're killing the XG. So I get it. It's not Klopp's rock and roll football, but then the squad, Slot's tactics are different anyway. But the actual squad couldn't even do Klopp's tactics moving forward. This wasn't like the legs in the actual team anyway.
No chance.
So we had to move on. And I just think, it's a bit more controlled. And there's not like the fist pumps and just pressing. But like, we're killing the league. And I guess the way to think about it would be, if Slot had inherited this squad and tried to play more rock and roll football, do we think we'd still be first? I'm not so sure in it. So I just think, as I was saying last week about Diaz, I just think Liverpool fans, you're not used to seeing your team win the Premier League, in it. So just be a bit humble and just be a bit cool with it, because you weren't expecting this. And if a team has signed one player in 2024, one player, I think it was the lowest in Europe out of any of the top 5 leagues, and a new manager comes in with one player signed for the whole of the calendar year and wins you the league, your second league in 5 years or your second league in 33 years, you choose the math. Settle down and just be happy about it, innit? Like what we doing here, innit? Like,
That said, Chris said, I understand the rotation points. That's my only criticism. But when people are trying to put a down on us winning the league, no one put us anywhere near the final.
Exactly.
Teat said, I'm only taking front 3. Forget Harvey. Just play Chiesa.
Yeah, I agree with Chiesa still.
Bradley and Gomez due back very soon. FSG would love Jones as right back option, so don't have to invest. Jones did well, but against better teams, he gets slaughtered. Play him in his natural position when everyone is fit. Yeah, probably.
But I think it like playing. I think Jones. I'm not saying that's going to be an everyday occurrence or every game occurrence, but you know what? My mind has changed with Curtis Jones over the period of the season, because I've noticed how quick and tidy his feet are.
Oh, he's tight, very tight.
He gets out of ridiculously tight situations. He can spot a pass, and that's probably one thing I'd say he probably needs to do a little bit more of, like kind of, getting that.
Make the pass.
Yeah,
make the pass.
Release it, Curtis. Release it.
Yeah, release it. Emre Can.
But like the even though it was offside in the second half, when they put that ball in and he's come in back stick and defended it. I mean, look, give these dues. He's gone in there. Yeah, he's gone in there and he's shown that he can play, because Slot's played him as a holding player as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're so right. You're so right, and I do apologize, Preds. You're so right in terms of the personnel and position that Jones is actually playing. Long time I wouldn't wanted to see him play at right back. He's filling in and he's done a good job. And I think it's absolutely. It's also a credit to his own mindset and development. And I think we can almost forget that when he was with our under 18s and our academy, he was a left winger. People actually forget that Jones was a left winger. So he's made that transition in terms of playing in midfield, and as you said, playing as a number 6 or the 8, and he played the one game yesterday at right back, and that's I think that's also a credit.
He played right back before.
Yeah, but that's also a credit to his development as well. So I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's good.
But just the point that Chris made about FSG wanting to keep him at right back. FSG are like, between Hughes and Edwards, they're going to sign players. Everyone just relax. We're going to sign players.
Yeah, I'm like,
maybe not the players that we want.
What everyone had to realize is, because we were investing so much money into the wages of the current team, there wasn't the money to be signing new players on top of maintaining the current squad. There had to be more rotation. Players leaving for players coming in. That's just what was going to need to have happened. Klopp didn't really want to let people go. So therefore, we were stuck with the squad. I go back to the first 3 years of Klopp. We signed 4 and 5 first-team players every year for 3 years. So I think people just need to relax about we're not going to sign players. We are going to sign players. Like, everyone just needs to relax. I can go through the names if you want me to, but I'm not going to do that. Everyone just like, we're going to sign players. Like, just chill.
Big Pete said the drop off for Boo Nunes. He said what? David and God would do better. My gosh. My gosh.
That's a big shot, boy.
That's David Ngog now as well, isn't it? Not this playing. Oh,
it's very easy to assume that players ain't showing enough, as we've seen them have impacts in games when used, especially Kaiser, bar the Plymouth game, says Bingy. Yeah, I hear that. And it's true though, what Teach says, 5 subs and Kaiser can't get a kick over Darwin or Jota. He was awful.
I think it was the Southampton game, right? Because they had a player that went off with a concussion. So we actually made 6 subs in that game.
Yeah.
And still no Kaiser. So yeah.
So there's no. Yes.
There are legitimate questions about how Chiesa has been used, in my opinion. Absolutely. Simply because I can think you can point to the Nunez's, you can point to the Jotas, you can point to the other players and say, actually, you did get minutes at certain points in time. But I think with Chiesa, there is evidence to say that Slot should have given him just play him, man. Just play him.
Gentlemen, I saw something today that nearly made my heart stop beating, man. I'm not happy, I'm not impressed. And I just hope it's fake news. I'm hoping it's a late April Fool's. I really am. The news is that Liverpool are in talks with Kyle Walker-Peters because he'll be out of contract in the summer. And we're looking to sign him as a replacement at right back.
You know what? Tell me something that screams FSG without actually saying FSG.
Apparently, they're saying that one of them, I think it's Hughes or one of them, was involved in bringing him to Southampton, in it, or something like that. I'm just like, yo, please, let this be fake news. Please. I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, look, I don't know, actually. I don't know what to make of it. I really don't.
I'll be honest,
nothing against him.
I think he's good. I actually think he's good. I don't think he's terrible at all. I just get that.
You want him at your team?
If you're letting go of Trent and you sign Walker-Peters, fans will be like, what's going on here?
Do you want him at your team?
I think it depends on what else they do. Like, let's say they say, cool, let's get Walker-Peters so that we can give Bradley the opportunity to be first choice. And if Bradley does have the fitness and the form to say that he can be first choice, then Walker-Peters can back him up.
Oh, sorry. Hold on, sorry. It says Liverpool Football Club have agreed personal terms with Southampton. Soon to be out of contract fullback Kyle Walker-Peters, 27-year-old, is travelling to Merseyside to complete pre-contract agreements and medical examinations.
Liverpool, when did that come out? Yesterday.
See him join the club in July when his current contract expires. Liverpool sporting director Richard Hughes was instrumental in the move and sees Walker-Peters as a long-term replacement for the inevitable outgoing England international Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, that's not true.
That's written by David Ornstein. Yeah.
Are you sure? So you know what? You know, sometimes people do they do the fake kind of Ornstein page. Like they do the fake Ornstein page. But look, I think Walker-Peters is good. And I think it depends on what else you do elsewhere.
You're still not answering. You're playing a politician now. Do you want him at your club? Yes or no?
If he's back up, I wouldn't be against it. I think he's good.
Still can't give me a straight yes or no.
Mine is a straight no. I don't want. Listen, for me, in my opinion, you haven't got a player that's coming to Southampton like a Mane or anything like that. I don't think he fits the profile of players that we would or could be looking for. Yes, I understand that he may be on a free. He's 27. We may be giving him £1 a week, so it's not going to have an impact on whatever our wage structure is. He does not fit the bill. I don't think he did. Not even one thing. I don't think he did anything at Tottenham. I don't think he's going to contribute to any sales in merchandise. I think he's just going to. That's what I'm trying to say. Them numbers alone, Kyle Walker-Peters, you'll be broke putting all of them numbers in the back of the top. I don't think he will add. I don't think he's
putting Kyle Walker-Peters on the back of your shirt will cost more than the shirt.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to add. Unfortunately, I don't think he'll add anything to Liverpool. Nothing. It's like that situation. I think at the moment, Real Madrid have kind of got a profile where they're in a position where they're getting players on a free, rightly so, XYZ, and then they add some value to the club. I just don't think he'll be able to. I'm not too sure. I'm not going to give the opinion that I know where Southampton are in the league and what they've been able to be doing this season. But I think we all play Fantasy League. I'm convinced that none of us have at any time put Kyle Walker-Peters in our team or even in our watch list. You see what I'm saying? He has zero attributes. So I don't think
Mark
that
Foster
he
said no, Doc, no Walker-Peters.
So I just found an old tweet that I did 2 years ago, and I said this: if Southampton go down, Walker-Peters and Lavia would be good signings for us. So I can't. Yeah. I think he's good, isn't it? But
good for what though? A shape up.
Exactly, good for what?
But equally, when we signed Salah, I wasn't particularly that kind of excited. I wasn't overly excited about Mane. There's been multiple players who we've signed, and I've been like, I don't know about that one. So I just think if the data leads towards Walker-Peters, and that means that saving money on that means that we can strengthen other areas of the pitch, and I just think like these guys know what they're doing. I think Walker-Peters is blatantly good, isn't it? I think there's a lot of players in the Premier League.
All I'm going to ask you to do is this: just do one thing. Just do one thing. I've never, ever questioned anything you say. Off camera, send the man them the data. That's what I'm going to say. Just send us the data.
Teach says that doctors related to stitches.
I think he's good. I think he's good.
Big shouts goes out to Fitzwarren. Oh, nice one, bro.
I think he's good.
Teach, I hope you're right, bro. I hope you're right.
I think it's fake as well, but
we're also, I'm hoping it's fake, man. We're also meant to be linked to the Real Sociedad winger, the Japanese winger.
Kubo.
Yes.
All right, Kubo's nice. All right, he used to play for Real Madrid, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he was at both, I think he was at Real and Barca. There was some kind of yeah.
But the only reason why we're probably going to be linked because we got the Japanese connection now with the airline, though, innit? As one of our sponsors. And then we're over there during the pre-season when we got Milan. I think it's the 26th of July. So yeah, Kubo's a nice player, but we've already got a Japanese man there, so we don't. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Might come and keep him company. You know what I mean? Get that doc guy off the panel. Man said you're the only one buying his shirt,
Walker-Peters.
Walker-Peters on his back.
I think he's decent. What can I say? I think he's decent. I think he's solid.
All right, Chris Welsh makes a good point for him. I don't think he's good enough for Liverpool, but I said that about Robertson from Hull. That's a valid point I will make.
That's what I'm saying. I think Jota was another one. See when we signed Jota.
No. We saw Jota. We saw Jota playing for
I'll be real.
And you could do a team.
I'll be real because they had the other Portuguese up front, like the playmaker, bro. He's playing number 10 for them. I can't remember.
Yeah, and I know you're talking about. Yeah,
him. He was mad techie in that. In my mind, that's who I wanted from Wolves. It wasn't Jota. But I just think like these men know what they're doing. So if Walker Peters turns up, lads, I want us all to be cheering him because he's gonna be a solid signing.
You're gonna be doing your Todd boy.
I'm
Just-
telling you.
He's
telling you.
decent, man. I just think not everyone needs to be a superstar in your squad. You just need to have man who can.
Yeah,
just-
but that's like getting driving a Bentley, and then next thing you know, you get a Skoda. Like,
Yeah, but you can't look at Walker Peters as Trent's replacement because I think they're going to try to replenish that. They're going to try to replace Trent's creativity in other parts of the pitch. So, I don't think they're going to be going light for light, like right back for right back to replace Trent. I think they're going to try to get more creativity if it's in centre mid, the wingers, like the forward being more creative. Like you can't.
Doctor,
Yeah.
Doctor, would you buy Kyle Walker Peters on Football Manager?
No.
Look at the forward. See what?
But-
There is it.
But if I've got to make 6 signings this summer, 6 signings, and I want to invest big money in 5, and I just don't think it's the world's worst idea if you're having to do a lot of business.
So Kyle Walker Peters then would have to come in behind Conor Bradley then,
Yeah,
not before him.
Yeah, if that's the plan to say Bradley, like we're going to give you a year to see if you can be first choice. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with that because I've got question marks over Bradley. But if you're saying Walker Peters is just like backup, like I just think like we got to trust in these guys. It's called clever recruitment, man. And that's Chris said, isn't it? Andy Robinson, like who is he? He's coming to Accrington Stanley, bro. Like who are they? So sometimes you've got to look at shrewd signings, man.
Yeah, that's the difference though. We knew, but we didn't know about Andy Robertson, but we know about Kyle Walker Peters. That's the difference. We know about him, bro.
Brothers, each time I watch them play, I think he's good.
Boy.
I think he's
no,
good.
I think where he was, and like I think Stoney said, he didn't really pull up trees at Tottenham. He's come in at Southampton. He's done an okay job with Southampton, but hey, I'm one of those ones where I don't want to sign any players who've been relegated,
Andy Robinson.
regardless of.
Andy Robertson was relegated.
Oh well, yeah, he's relegated. Yeah. Listen, I you know what? I get what Stoney and Lee are saying, but I also get what Doctor's saying in regards to the clever recruitment, and I think
He's on a
Hughes
free.
and
He's on a free.
Hughes and things got. I think you're right. We have to kind of trust if they've got a long-term plan, then we have to trust it. I'm just a little bit eyebrows and thinking, surely there's someone in the world who's gone on a free who is better and a slightly better fit to Liverpool than Carl Walker.
So put it like this, right?
Forget that.
If you listen to Teach, because Teach wants to sell everybody, right? But if we just look at what's like Teach literally is like Henry VIII, off with your head. Like everyone must go. Right? If you listen to Teach, or just not even listen to Teach, just listen to what just fans are saying, right? It seems like Slot doesn't rate Chiesa. Chiesa's too good to be, I think he's played 36 minutes in the Premier League. There's a high chance that Chiesa might go, right? Elliot can't see no minutes. There's a high chance that Elliot might go. Diaz is just on his contract. Jota struggling, but Slot likes him, so he might stay. And then Cody will probably stay, and then Nunes will probably go. So we could easily sign 3 or 4 forwards. If Mo don't renew, it could easily be 4 forwards. Then midfield, we're going to need to bring in one in midfield. Do we need a centre back? We definitely going to need like a left back. So we're talking maybe like 7 players. So you might need to just sign a free contract, somebody, just to give you backup to Conor Bradley for the year.
But some of them players you're talking about who's going to go, we're going to get decent money for. Like Nunes, we can still get decent money for. You understand?
Yeah. Agree.
Money.
Agree. I just feel like, they might need to just. Okay, so let's say for Nunes, we get, I don't know, 60 mil, for example. Saudi Arabia. Let's say we want to go for the guy from say Alvarez, for example. Like he's going to cost more than Nunes. So I just think some of the players that we're going to sell, their replacements might cost more, or they might just be on they might cost more but be on lower wages. But I just think either way, they're going to have a lot of business to do. So maybe saving money on one player, so you can maybe get Kirkes for 45, kind of makes sense. And again, he's back up. He's back. So just to clarify, would I sign Walker Peters to be a starter? No. Would I pay money for Walker Peters to be a starter or backup? No. On a free contract, backup player, I'm just saying I'm not against it. I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm saying I'm not against it.
Anyway, gentlemen, we got a game. We got a game. We got a game coming up against Fulham next. Yeah,
I like him. I think he's good.
Doc, I don't think you've convinced Lee.
No one's convinced at all. No one's convinced at all. Nobody. I get it.
To be fair, you got to double down because you went out there online.
2 years ago.
Online.
2 years ago. Yeah.
You got to double down on it, mate. You got. I feel you. Wait. Pause.
Well done. Well done. I was about to. Well done. Gentlemen, quickly before we wrap this up, let's have predictions for the Fulham game.
Well, you know what?
2-0.
2-0 to who?
Liverpool.
Okay.
I'll go 2-1 Liverpool.
And Stoney only get one score right in 4 years.
I know. I think one in 10 years. 3-1. 3-1 Liverpool.
Okay.
And Harvey Elliott's definitely going to be on the bench for this game.
Yeah,
Harvey can't
definitely.
Get no
Well,
minutes,
peoples, I must say, thank you very much once again for joining us. It was definitely been a blast, I'll tell you. And listen, there was just so much more to talk about. So we could continue this for hours on end, I'll tell you. But do remember, like, share, subscribe. Back next week, same place, same time. We will be here discussing the Liverpool-Fulham game and us being 3 points closer to that second Premier League in 5 years. That's the maths they need to talk about. Not 30 years, 42 years. Second in 5. That's how the maths go. You understand? But this is Bodman's, yeah? Bodman's maths. I'm gonna school them on that. All right? Stoney, Dr. Preds, thank you very much. My panel, best panel I could ask for, I tell you. Gents, peace.